we're now at the first big dot point of the lore of this show, right? And I think that's something that the fans will really appreciate, is getting to this point where we're making the rings of power.
We will discuss the rings once you have answered the question. Who is this man?
He is no man.
I have to start with Charlie, obviously.
Okay.
I want to know if it was difficult or fun to do rounds of press, pretending the entire time that you were not Sauron.
I think it started out fun, very novel, but then by the end it was difficult because you had to start to invent new ways of and also people caught on. Towards the end, people started asking, just, are you Sauron?
Right.
Or saying, I think you're Sauron. And I'm just having to make a lot of stuff up by that point.
Do you have any idea what might have given it away?
Maybe my terrible lying.
But you're an actor.
I know. It was challenging, but it was I think it made it more effective, right? The end for those of us. I think a lot of people guessed because if they knew the lore, but there were quite a few people who have come up to me and said that they had no idea, which is always cool.
Was that secret kept from the other cast members at all?
By that point, I think no. I think by the press tour, everyone knew.
Okay.
But in New Zealand, yeah, it was kept from me for a while.
Okay.
Did other actors start to say, do you think you're Sauron?
Big time. Right at the start, because when we rocked up, you go through the cast list and you think, okay, well, yeah, you've got Galadriel and Elrond and Gil-galad and Celebrimbor, all these lore characters, but you're like, where's Sauron? I think you're pretty sure you should be in this show. So then everyone started to guess which of the original characters was Sauron, and people started to catch on.
Charles, so many of our readers want to hear as much as they can about the behind the scenes, the filming of the scenes, of the planning and the forging of the creation of the rings. It's so cool to see. Could you just walk us through maybe just filming some of those sequences?
It's cool. It's exactly as you describe. It was so exciting for us to be telling that story in this show. The rings, they need to be made, and it's a known story for those who know their Tolkien. It's a story that we are going to deliver. Obviously, we hope very much in a way that they will enjoy. It's written by Tolkien. It's in terms of my character, he's hinted at very briefly by Tolkien, but obviously is a very key part of the whole process. But the walking into the set, for example, this huge cathedral-like forge that he's built, and seeing at the end of season 1, we were just making 3 rings, so we just had 3 little ring machines. Now we've got loads, and to see them in action, and to see the detail that has gone into creating these amazing elven ring making machines, so exciting.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It has to feel like you guys have a little bit more ownership over the show as well too. Now that you've been through 1 season and can really dig into you talk about the lore. We spoke about that the first time you came through. You must have a firmer grasp on all of that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In every way, I think everybody's feeling much more grounded in it, and particularly speaking for myself, we're now going into a story which is undeniably Tolkien.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we do not, we do what's on the page. So that's very grounding.
Absolutely.
And it's a great privilege to tell that story.
Doing what's on the page. Sam, specifically, the creation of Mordor was one of the most remarkable moments of season 1. We're going to learn a little bit more about some of the origin story, about how all that came together. We're going to learn a bit more going into season 2.
Yeah, how do you know about that? Yeah,
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, we do. Adar's work is done really at the end of season 1. He's created a home for the Uruk, and apart from obviously the continued existential threat posed by the elves, Sauron, as far as he knows, is long gone. And when murmurs start to happen about Sauron being back, that just changes everything.
Right. Now, there was a story that broke, and I was actually kind of surprised that it did. The opening scene is a flashback of your character Adar assassinating Sauron, and I'm curious if that knowledge affected your relationships or how you developed the spark of your relationships and the development of it.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's alluded to, I think, in episode 6 of season 1. that something happened, and we're going to see this at the very beginning of season 2.
Yeah.
And this is thousands of years before. And so as far as Adar is concerned, Sauron is definitely dead. And he's kind of quizzed by his children about Sauron's death, because they are obviously deeply frightened of his existence. And he gives them assurances that Sauron is definitely dead, but obviously he isn't, and he comes back, and there's this sort of seeds of mistrust between Adar and his children, which is interesting to
There's
play.
a really fascinating scene in the first episode, I don't think this is a spoiler, between Adar and Halbrand, with the two of them kind of in a prison cell type place. The two of them coming face to face for the first time since that episode 6 of the first season, and sort of this weird understanding between the two of them, that maybe there's something deeper than this surface connection that they have.
And as you say, a feeling between them based on thousands of years.
Right.
Yeah, which all links back to the opening scene. And I was surprised when I read that as well. I think it was Patrick or JD who just said in an interview the whole plot of the opening, the opening to the season. I was like, okay,
Probably
They're gonna caught me off guard as well. Oh, we're going there. Is that where we're
nice.
going? How has fan feedback from the first season almost given you guys a vote of confidence? You know, that the direction of the show is something that people were embracing as you're headed into season 2, that you can go deeper into the mythology. You can embrace a bit more about these characters. How did it affect your preparation as you went into season 2?
Well, I think my preparation was the same as season 1, regardless of the feedback. I hope, and when I think about all the groundwork that I put in season 1 to read Tolkien's letters and do as much as I could, read the Silmarillion and Unfinished Tales, etc. Come season 2, the thing that was different, and the thing that I think a lot of fans would be excited about with their feedback, is that we're now at the first big dot point of the lore of this show, right? And I think that's something that the fans will really appreciate, is getting to this point where we're making the rings of power.
Right.
You know, literally the title of one of the chapters in the Silmarillion, it is it's crunch time, right? And it's that's something that excited me in my preparation, and I think it's something that the fans are really keen to see. And us as fans, I'm keen to see that story between Sauron and Celebrimbor being told on screen. You know?
But I can't trust a word you're telling me.
Exactly. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's Sauron walking around in a field or something like that the whole season.
How am I supposed to trust you?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows?
You're a proven liar.
Yeah, quite literally.
How much time off did you guys have between season 1 and season 2 when you started filming again?
What was it? A year and a half, something like that?
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
I can't
more.
remember. It's so. We started this. I was casting this in the end of 2019, October 2019, and what are we now? 2024.
Yeah.
So it's nearly been 5 years. Is that right?
So it's extraordinary.
Coming
to
up to
think about.
5 years. So we've done 2 seasons in those 5 years. So however long that was.
Was there a challenge, or what was the challenge of resuming production and getting back into it and reestablishing your connections to the characters?
I was just so looking forward to it because I knew what was coming.
Sure.
And JD and Patrick had been, very vocal in what was coming and what to expect, and their excitement, which as always is very infectious.
Yeah.
And their passion for it. And so I was just really keen to get started again. And, to start doing the fittings and be back on these amazing new sets. And
I found it a challenge to basically develop a character from, in terms of physically, to develop something that is which is in line with what we all imagined Anatar to be, but have our own take on it, I guess, and make sure it's connected to everything that Sauron wants and needs.
I was gonna say, how much feedback did you have into the look, the new?
A lot. It was a really long process, not just the look, but it was also in the way that I walked and talked, and that was a matter of months of rehearsal. Yeah.
And Sam, whose arc do you think is gonna grab the audience's attention and hold them in the palm of their hands this season? Yeah.
I think there's so much going on.
Sorry, I meant to say besides your own.
Oh, right, okay. I'm really excited to see, because of course you're in your world within a world, and some of them overlap without too many spoilers, but you've seen some of that stuff already in this communication with Galadriel and with Charlie as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's loads of stuff that I'm not involved in at all, and so I want to see what happens with, I know that Maxim is covered in mud for most of the season. That's good to see. And let's see what happens with the dwarves as well, because they have nothing to do with them. But I love that world. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all the other bits, because, since I read the scripts for the episodes, that you then focus on the things that you're doing. Mm-hmm. But it's been a long time, so there's going to be lots of nice surprises with the Harfoots and with Daniel, and it's going to be, there's a lot to look out for. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's the same for all of us. I mean, people kind of think that we're all doing it together at the same time, which we are, but we're all in very different worlds, different sets, sometimes different countries. So it's always when you do sit down and watch the whole thing, to see what all your mates have been up to.
Yeah, sure.
It's great.
Of course. Yeah, Charles, I was wondering if you were watching season 1 and think, like, getting lost in a plot line that wasn't your own, and just wondering where it was going.
I was blown away I was so excited to sit and watch the first two. I thought the first episode of season 1 was the most beautiful opening.
Sure.
With those little elven kids putting that little boat on. I thought it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautifully shot. And yeah, I loved it.
Well, and the show has been so cinematic, from the very beginning. And I'm curious that, some of these bigger shows, as they go from one season to the next, they grow a little bit more in the production. Have you guys seen a growth, a expanse in terms of what you guys are going after?
If it can get any bigger than it was in season 1, I think, but in the scale of I don't think it's a secret that there is a huge battle in this season. And I think that the scale of that battle is a lot bigger than anything we saw in season 1. It goes for 3 episodes and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, orcs, elves.
Yeah, it does look amazing.
And it looks that when I compare it to battles, or I guess they're like skirmishes in season 1 in comparison.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I noticed hugely different.
And I'll get you here on this one. The appetite for this type of storytelling seems incredibly strong. We have an animated film coming at the end of this year. We're hearing that, they're going to get back into it with Andy Serkis is going to start telling more stories in this. You come down here, you sit in front of the fandom, you see how hungry they are for this type of storytelling. What does it tell you guys about the work that you're doing and how it's being received?
Today was amazing, being out there, and not only for everybody in the audience, but for us too, to see the trailer, which we hadn't seen before. You never get to see this stuff until you're there watching it with an audience.
Sure.
And it's just really, I found it very touching, very moving today, actually, that was all our work up there, and I just felt so proud of all of us, and everyone's just great in it, and to hear the reaction was so rewarding. It's terrific.
There's something special about Comic-Con and having you guys come back time after time, so hopefully you get to do it for years to come.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.